Okay, right, we'll call this part 2, and obviously the last part was part 1, which I didn't call part 1, but we'll call part 1 now. So I've now lowered both of these to 1 metre. The front of the Silnylon Trailstar could probably be pegged, the guy line could probably be pegged a little bit shorter, so it's not quite so high off the ground. Not that that's high off the ground, but you want a little bit of ventilation, I would imagine. So that's 1.2, sorry, 1 metre, that's 1 metre, approximately 1 metre on both of them. At this height, as I say, apart from the front of the Silnylon, I've got the back. Certainly the ridge lines are pegged right to the ground. The midpoints at the rear aren't right at the ground, but again, I would imagine that you know, you could put the peg straight through that and then just peg that straight to the ground if you so desired. So again, I would imagine you want a little bit of ventilation going through. I think I've got a slightly lower door on it now, but I'll still play around with it a little bit more. I must admit, when I first or second or third time now, or is it the fourth? Because I did it twice last week, didn't I? But anyway, there was one point in the setup or the changing the height of this one where the back was sagging a little bit, but I just jiggled something here and there, and that's sorted that out completely. So that thankfully didn't take too long to sort, just a few seconds. The Cuban, again, I've got the ridge lines pegged directly to the ground. Well, you know, pretty close. I think the gaps that you can see under there are as much the long grass, because again, this is the Silnylon. Again, the grass, I think, is holding it up just as much as anything else. I'd imagine that could be pegged right down. And the same with that one. So you've got it pretty close to the ground on both of them at 1 metre. I'll just swing around to the front of this one. Okay, and I still struggle slightly to get the sides really tight and the door really tight, but I've got it. You're not going to get it much tighter, so hopefully Colin might give me a bonus point, maybe a Brucey bonus this time. So that's both of them from the front. So I think I've got everything lined up. I've tried to make sure all poles are straight and not my usual oops, gone too far. Not my usual wonky effort. So things are pretty straight. Bringing down the Cuban was fairly straightforward, actually. I think I had to do a bit of jiggery pokery with some of the pegs, but not a lot. It actually came down quite well. But of course that only came down 10 centimetres, because I had it at 1 metre 10 before, and it's at 1 metre now. Of course the Silnylon I brought down 20 centimetres, because it was 1 metre 20 in the last video, and now it's 1 metre. So I did have to manoeuvre a few pegs and realign a few things. But again, I'm guessing in time you won't need to do that. The impression I get is you can raise it and lower it, pardon the expression, you can raise and lower it without affecting where your pegs and poles and what have you go. I don't know why I'm coming back round. Let's just go in the middle. Don't want to trip over anything. Let's just show you inside. So this is obviously the Cuban. It's a little bit tight to get in. Ooh. And of course everything's raised up slightly because the grass is very long. And again, this is the 1 metre. That hooks up there. There's a little bit more slack on this now, of course, because the that mitten hook. Mutton? Is there any mutton around here? Any sheep? No, no sheep, no mutton. Mitten. That mitten hook is obviously lower now, but it still fits under here, and you can see when this is down at the ground, when that's raised up a little bit there, it's still going to raise that corner, so you're still some distance away from the edge of the tarp there, so I don't think rain will get in and splash you inside, if you get where I'm drifting on that. And the same, people call these things spacious. I'm sorry, when you're used to a house, these tarps and tents, they are not spacious, they are small and so as I keep banging my head and knocking everything. I was going to think about something about knocking them, but we better keep this PG. Right, so, and again, yeah, where was I? Getting distracted by knocking. Right, so again, the rear here is, you know, some distance from the end. So I don't think you're going to get, you know, you're not going to get wet there. You're no drippier than I am anyway. So if I attempt to back out, and I'll bring this with me, and then we'll go and find some more mutton, and we'll come in here. Right, first thing I notice in here is it does seem a bit more spacious in here. Not a lot maybe, but I must admit I do think the Silnylon, it just seems to be more room in here, even at 1 metre. I forget they're both at 1 metre, and I've measured and checked. It seems to be, again, that's the rear bit there, and it's not too close to the edge of the tarp there, and there's still room in that back there, stacks of room over there, and then you can hook your mutton. Yeah, I know, I'm just being daft now. Right, so you can hook your mutton to your mitten hook up there, and that seems to fit in there quite nicely. And we're quite some distance from the door, so I don't think you're going to get particularly damp in here. I wouldn't have thought. Can't imagine that. So oh my God. So that's that. Oh, I was telling you about the temperature earlier. In the sun, 41.8 centigrade. Doubt it's that hot really. Oh, Bess's pouch. That's her water. Oh, stay Bess, stay. Woke her up. That's Bess's water in there and the hose, and then I can tip the water into her water bowl there. So that's how that works. That's Bess's moment of fame. Oh, I know the other thing I was going to do. Okay, look at the quickly. Yeah. That's someone going past, probably thinking, what the hell is he doing in that? It's the first time I've ever had a vehicle go past. Again, I haven't been pegging it out past 11 minutes now, but that's Bess's Oakworks best bed back there. So that fits in that little department perfectly, and there's still room in that corner. There's room in front. Just out of curiosity, let's just whip that. Not sure that you'd really want it to be, unless it was a storm at this height. I think you'd want it at about 1.10 meters to be lying at the rear. And right, so that's obviously, yeah. On my backside, back out of these things. So that's how the bug bivvy would fit at the back, and then Bess's bed would go there. As I say, I think if you were at the back, ideally you'd want to be at about 1.10 meters to 1.20 meters, just to give you a little bit more headroom. Because that's obviously your hook there, and well, you're going to have all that in your face here, so you know it's not quite as ideal at the back. I think if you were having it at the back and you were using a Mountain Laurel Designs inner, then that other inner that I showed you the other week would be better. So, just bear with me a minute. I know you're not all going anywhere. Yeah, because when you're at the back at this height, you are touching the sides. I can, of course, with the centre pole there, I can lie down like that. So lying down, yeah, you'd be certainly very well protected back here. But I think for comfort, I think you'd want it to be more like 1.10 meters to 1.20 meters. Because I can't manoeuvre at this height without touching the sides, even in what I'm calling the spacious Silnylon Trailstar. So I must admit, I think lengthwise, like that is preferable. Yeah. So I think if you can sort of sleep that way, I think that is better at this height. And then obviously you could go at the back in a storm. And then I just, jeepers, up to 15 minutes now. So that's those two with the, that's that and that with that inside and Bess. Thanks for watching. They do look good, don't they? Doesn't look quite, that doesn't look bad at all. I know that, oh yeah, another thing, they're not for sale. I'm not selling them, so bugger off. They're all mine. I'll just give you one last whiz around. Thanks for watching. Bye.